Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast, My Hero Academia edition. We are back to talk about the More episode that just came out this past week. We said we'd be back reviewing this episode as it got the anime adaptation. So we have the My Hero enthusiast with us, Miss Andrea Alanese. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great because I just finished rewatching the episode right before this podcast and just gave me the warm fuzzies all over again. So I'm awesome. How are you, Martin?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I did rewatch it today, not right after the episode, right before this podcast, but around the time I had some time when I came home. So rewatched it again and all of that, and was just openly just gonna talk about it.
For sure. I mean, I guess I'll get my one critique,
Okay.
maybe two.
Okay.
One is a bigger one. My main critique out of the way is that I thought we might get a little more information on what's going on with everybody post time skip than what we got in the end credits. We got a little bit more for a couple people, but I guess I'm greedy and want a little bit more on what the day to day is like still happening and going on for everybody. So I guess I felt a little bit disappointed that most of the characters just had the same information displayed for each of them, which again makes sense because you get into the time skip during the last episode, this one being the quote unquote special episode. Um, then my one minor critique, jumping ahead to the end of the episode.
Hmm.
Well, I understand the gesture at the end, you know, being what it was because again, Japan is not necessarily the most openly PDA and loving up on each other and all that type of stuff. But
Hmm.
I mean, watching it as it was about to happen, I really thought they were gonna high five, and I'm like, they didn't. They didn't technically high five, but it wasn't much better than that. And again, I get it, but I wish they would have at least just either held hands, kind of more like a couple. Um, I guess, and even still, because they would have had the same hold on each other's hands, but it would just be more like down and together instead of I mean, the running joke on the internet right now is that, Deku and Uraraka dapped each other up to indicate to everybody that they're going to become a couple, or date or whatever. But yeah, if they could have just, I don't know, maybe even just hugged, held the hands down at their sides and walked off together that way, or they technically did, but I don't know. It was, I guess they are both awkward babies, so it makes sense. But they're also supposed to be 28 years old, essentially, at this point. Like, so those are my two super minor critiques because I love this episode. Seeing everybody be so grown up and more of who they are. And I mean, more is obviously the title of the episode. And ironically enough, when describing it, all I can talk about is more that we get some more information on, what they want to do and what they um really value. Dark Dark Shadows one comment towards the end about when they're all gathered to celebrate Shoto's rise to number two, which is the reason everybody's getting together. Originally, I thought the reason was that they were doing like a 10-year high school reunion. But no, it's the fact that Shoto became number two, which is awesome. And he, is getting into the his philosophical belief that, he hopes just like Hawks, eventually heroes have, more time on their hands, that there's going to be no need for heroes and blah, 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 blah. And somehow, right after that, without prompting, he just says that an ad agency tried to ask him to be more fabulous, which was hella ironic because I think Aoyama was sitting right next to him. And his line after that is, I am the darkness, which I mean, we always knew he was a bit of a little goth king, but I guess that just little moments like that is what helped to make it feel, at least to me, more real, as well as, I don't know, just more of what I love about my hero. And that There's always more to the characters, and it's not always, you know, pristine hero up and up, great one-liners, or always saying the most thought-provoking thing always. So, yeah, I feel like I'm rambling. Martin, help me out here.
No,
What do
no.
you think?
So you started at the end, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
get to the beginning, then get to your part at the end. So, and then I'm gonna try and we talked a lot about the stuff on the last thing of how I think My Hero Academia best represents normal people struggles in life, especially the last scene from when they ended the series. So the first part about real life imitating anime imitating real life. We start off one for people watching. It's a new intro, the same song, but a new intro video because obviously during
Yes.
season 8, it
Mm-hmm.
was All Might and Midoriya staring All for One and Shigaraki, and then when Bakugo woke up, it was Bakugo, All Might, and Midoriya staring those two down. That's
Mm-hmm.
obviously changed because this is past the war, so it was really it's just showing the beginning of My Hero, and then that concludes in like the end credits. So first it wakes up with Uraraka,
Mm-hmm.
and not even gonna don't mean to put you on the spot, but I am gonna put you on the spot because seeing Uraraka in that opening scene, minus the toga dream,
Mm-hmm.
that significantly reminded me of you because she woke up middle of doing her work, shit scattered all over the place.
Yes.
So I was just, and not even just because I know you, so I've seen you like that, but that's a real life thing. Like what you just said, their age range waking up is like, damn, I was just doing all this work and I fell asleep and now it's morning and now it's time to start
Mm-hmm.
my day. So I maybe just for me, I really like that touch because you see like
Yeah.
just like when people come home, I mean, you include her hero costume spread all over the thing. There's
Yep.
paperwork all over her thing, pen in hand. She well asleep while working. It's like, oh shit, now I gotta get back to work. So I really liked really liked that part. Obviously, she's having visions and stuff of Toga in her head.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to figure out what does that mean. At first she thought maybe because the blood's inside her, blah blah blah, and
Yeah, and I
she.
thought that was a great, thank you for bringing that up.
Mhm.
I thought that was a great point that she made when she was talking to Sue about it, in that, like, with Toga's blood being what saved her, obviously they get into some of the quote unquote science, or uh I'm spacing on the term, but basically talking about how quirks kind of leave an imprint. And so when they were talking about that, it reminded me of, like, kind of like the vestiges of like the ordinary people that All for One took, the quirks from, and things of that nature. So I wondered if something like that was going on. Obviously, that's not really what is going on. It's more of a unconscious, whole thing. Do we think, Toga's visiting her spiritually? You can believe what you want to believe. I could see that for sure. I definitely hear people talking about, losing loved ones and coming back to them to share messages and things of that nature. So like it could be something like that. I did enjoy kind of the more potential scientific um explanation, in that, it was her bodily fluids. It's kind of also like people who receive transplants, supposedly there's theories around cell memory based on that, because sometimes people who receive transplants, you know um, all of a sudden have a great love for a hobby that the donor used to have, that the recipient didn't have any interest in, and things of that nature. So it kind of tied that in, again, real world, and I thought that was a really interesting perspective.
Yeah, and I would say too when they were talking about it because the last episode when Midori and them graduated and they all went their separate ways, like he stated, it was a long time since he got to see any of them.
Right.
So take that for what it may. It could be the whole majority of the time skip we already talked about, like real life stuff in that. And Uraraka's, she stated, Uraraka, the stuff with Toga didn't start until about a month ago, and
Right.
that's also the same time where they all
Midoriya came back
reconnected
on the,
with
yep.
Midoriya as a
Mm-hmm.
hero. So all connected, all connected there. And then just talking about, and we'll talk more when we get to the party, but in this scene, it's obvious that Froppy is Uraraka's best friend.
Oh, for sure.
Seeing
Top tier
Sue
best
like,
friend,
yeah,
might I add. She is, I love her.
she
The
has
two of
grown.
them,
She has grown a lot.
she has. They both have. But honestly, man, I really wish you hadn't said Uraka waking up from working, especially from like what's kind of perceived to be a little bit of a nightmare. Man, I really wish you hadn't said that. Reminded you of me because now thinking about it is like watching Sue and Uraraka have those conversations, especially about like, taking care of yourself,
Hmm.
reminds me a little bit of my best friend and I.
See,
Like,
there you
have
see.
you checked out? Have you done this? Have you done that? And well, I did follow up on the doctor you recommended, and it didn't. I didn't really like it. So
Life,
again, like super real and super. Again, it's giving us more of them as day to day
adults.
people. Yeah.
So yeah, so just with that too, and just seeing Sue the way she acted in this and how she acted at the party again, she wasn't really like I don't want to say up. She was upbeat, but she wasn't like she is now as an adult. Like I would say, like she's more like you just see her giving that advice. You see her having fun. You see her with the facial expressions. Like she's really
Mm-hmm.
grown into her own. And then in between that, they were working.
Uh-huh.
They invited the big three to come to a school for their quirk study
Counseling. Yep.
stuff. And then there were just some funny, like one-liners, like Lemillion saying, "Oh, I hope the kids are excited to see me." And then Nejire's like, "Is that a
That joke.
joke?" And then, I mean, the kids are probably, I mean, they're screaming like, "Oh, Lemillion! Oh, it's Froppy! Oh, it's you, Rafferty! Jerry, I love you! Oh," it's
Mm-hmm.
like, so that was really cute. And then obviously, like, seeing her help the one kid who was super shy just as a part of her character. And, Sun
Mm-hmm.
Eater was the one who asked her about, like, so what are you're knee deep in all this stuff. What are you doing for,
Right.
like, yourself?
Right.
So, like, this is all happening. And obviously, this is the first half of the episode. You're sitting here as like, so where's the MC? Like you're just
Martin's like,
like,
I demand the green haired
no,
man.
no.
Where
I
is
just wondered where
he?
he was. I was looking at the like timer thing. I was like, oh my god, this is like 12 minutes of, in which is fine. I was just like, wow, this is. Are they gonna have enough to finish all
Bring
this
it
stuff?
home
Like,
with a
this is
dap.
kind of
Yes, they
crazy.
will.
So, and obviously, just stuff like one-liner stuff like that, and you see like all of them are ranked really,
Yes,
really high.
most all of
And
them. And it's what, because I started writing them all down, and that's what I was doing before the podcast started. And the fact that it's like, part of me really wonders, is like, is part of the reason all of them are so highly ranked? Because they even mentioned later on, some of the students from Siketsu, and the pro heroes that are older than them, it's like basically class 1A takes up the majority of 1 through I believe 40. And
so,
when you
yeah.
count those kids, it's like between class 1A and 1B, it's over half of them. And it's like, guys, you haven't had any like massive stars graduate in the last 8 years from UA behind you guys to like take your place. Like we didn't really see, and again, it's probably on purpose because why throw in new names that we won't recognize? But to me, that seems a little unrealistic, unless it really is, their involvement in the war and the final battle that helps to propel, as well as what they're doing now for sure. And
So I
it is,
got you on this one.
thank you.
Just for you gave the number, you said 40, so you want to get to 40. This
Yeah.
obviously not in the full, but I do have the top 10, and then I have some of them, so that
Mm-hmm.
jump around.
Yeah.
Number one,
A
Lemillion.
million.
Number two is Shoto. Another
Shoto.
person who I actually want to talk about a little bit more, who I mean, obviously because of her looks and her assets, let's just be honest, she was popular, but she is extremely grown. Like when I was reading someone talking about like her progression. Number
Mm-hmm.
three, Mount Lady. If you would have
Yeah.
told me at the beginning of this series that Mount Lady would be a top three hero, I would have said you're full of shit.
Same. No, no, no. Same.
Her, even though she is not a major character, like if you actually watch the series and see how she's grown
Mm-hmm.
as a hero, because again, she was just like a superficial, oh, I'm hot, like this, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's grown and she was fighting Gigamaki and like all that. Like I have to throw respect to Mount Lady because she has grown significantly throughout the series, and it's not really like highlighted unless you like pay
Pay
attention to the
attention.
series.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So
And
shout
she
out to
does
her.
absolutely. I actually thought you were going to say Mirko because that was the other thing I was going to
No,
say.
Miriko's
And
what I'm just gonna say. She's gonna do this until she dies.
oh, absolutely. No, no,
Like,
no, no. She is literally going to have KIA on her tombstone. Like she legitimately will not. If she dies, she's getting killed in action. Like she's not going to take anything laying down, but even death.
yeah.
But
So
I mean, that's also one of the points I wanted to make in the staying power of some of the people in the top 10 to still remain in the top 10 basically a decade later, which is wild. That's, Mount Lady, Kamui Woods, Mirko.
Mount Lady
Did I say
was
Best Genius
numbered.
already?
No, we haven't got to him. Well, you just
Okay.
did now, but we have. But Mount Lady was.
Wash. Wash is the other one.
Let's. I don't understand.
Oh,
I
same. No, no, no. That pisses me off, but I'm sure there's a cultural joke as to why that's a thing.
so Mount Lady when the series started. So from season one
Mm-hmm.
all the way till All Might retired,
Yeah.
unranked.
Yeah.
When Endeavor became number one, she peaked at 23. So
Mm.
she was at 23 until all the way until this time skip where she jumped to three. You want to talk like we're just jumping around, but
Mm-hmm.
like you brought up Wash. I don't get it because Wash was number eight when Endeavor was number one, and
I
Wash is
know. And
number
Wash is
eight
still
when
number
Lemillion's number
eight.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's
Shoto's moved up to number two, and other people in the top 10 have moved down. Because that was the other, I found it really interesting when they were
mhm.
posting the rankings, they had arrows to indicate movement.
Yeah,
So, like, Lemillion was number one, and there was like a dash mark, meaning that it stayed consistent. Some of them have obviously rising arrows, some of them have down arrows. I found one person, which was Invisible Girl, had an arrow just going straight up, which I don't know what that means exactly when all the other ones are more slanted in the upwards position. So my guess is she had like a big jump, maybe,
yeah.
but that's
She's
not really important.
she's 39. So so shout out to Mount Lady Three. Her boyfriend Kamiya
Emily
Woods.
Woods, number four.
For like we just talked about, Best Genius, who's had staying power throughout the entire series. When All Might
Mm-hmm.
was one, he was four. When Endeavor was one, he was three. When the Millions one, he's five. Mirko,
Number
Najire,
six. Yep.
um,
Nigeria,
so,
number seven.
Wash, Tentacle nine, and this was
Yep.
crazy. I mean,
Fucking
who
for
would have said
real.
this in the series?
Monoma.
Number 10. That rounds out top 10. No one would have to be honest and respectfully because
Yes,
he was not even Monoma but Tentacle. He was cannon fodder for 99% of the series
he
until they
was.
got to the part with at the hospital where
Yeah.
he talked about the prejudice and all of the discrimination he had to deal with, and then they
Yeah. Like
talked about
human
that at the
rights.
party.
All of his work within that
Hmm.
space is, helping to propel him forward, which is again also a testament to the hero rankings no longer being strictly about, like
It's
villain
a mixture of
combat
stuff
and
now.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
But
diversified.
so then he was nine. He was then like again like that's crazy. And then obviously you got Fat Gum, Red Riot, 11, 12,
Mm-hmm.
um, Ida, 13, Mudman, 14. Bakugo is at 15. He
Mm-hmm.
debuted at 5.
At four.
4, I'm sorry, but then his attitude
Mouth.
and all that dropped him. And then
Like a bomb.
I will. There's something else that, but he's gonna shoot up. I'm gonna give the other rankings too.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the first non-UA student who
Mm-hmm.
comes in at 16, Gale Force.
Yep.
Okay, then Tsukuyomi, Sun Eater, and now I want to ask you because this has been your girl for day one. You've been hard on her too. There's been
Mm-hmm.
whole snippets of
Yeah.
you saying she needs to get better. How do you feel that she is number 19 in the top 19, but in the top 20?
I am so proud of her. And again, especially within, her niche thing that she immediately after graduating, we see that she goes into more research and then, spreading knowledge and things of that nature. Like that's her primary form of hero work in addition to, like responding to calls,
Hmm.
which I'm super proud of her. And that was something else, not to bring her in too early, but we do get a update on her quote unquote rival, Kendo, And
number
Kendall's
23.
ranked, yes,
I didn't like
lower
her
than
picture.
Momo. So
I didn't like her picture. That's just
I
me.
did not like her picture either. I honestly, I think the picture was supposed to be illustrative of her relationship with Monoma still because she was put to the back of him. And I very much would argue that she should be a bigger hero than him.
I
Does that
mean,
mean she should be in the top 10? Not necessarily. But like, I, for people not liking Bakugo's personality and stuff,
mhm,
I have a hard time understanding people not having a similar reaction to his.
the Monoma. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and then if like from her standpoint too is like, which sometimes it's a goal. Like I was ahead of both these people the whole time we were in school. Like I was the leader of class
One
1B.
one
I
B,
literally have wins against
somebody in the top 20.
top 20 in MoMA who they compared us to for our whole like basically career. And now
Yep.
both of them are ahead of me. Because I just felt like her picture like just gave off that she was just like it was
She was
almost
salty. Like
it was like the gymnastic Michaela. It was like her
oh my god,
picture.
yes. What was the meme called?
Yeah, when she got
Unimpressed.
silver. Yeah, when she got the
Yes.
silver. That's what it
Yes.
reminded me of.
That's fair. That's probably what the reference actually is. That would make sense.
So I was just like that. But then going that grand 20 gang orca, God, he's been there forever. The
Mm-hmm.
lizard lady, number 22. Our
Yep.
girl Uraraka. We already talked about Battlefist 22. Uraraka 24, Real Steel 26, Pinky 28, Earphone Jack 30, Tailsman 32, Comics Man 33, Froppy 34, Cellophane 36, Invisible Girl 39. Obviously, she was in the top 10. Miss Dragon Lady, basically the running her hero agency and all that. 40. Gale Force's friend, the dude,
Oh,
Shisho.
yeah, Shinny Ross or something like
Generos
that.
41.
Yeah.
Death Arms at 42. Charge Bolt 44. And Present Mike 45. Those were the heroes. And then Monoma was 108. Those were the heroes that were listed. They're ones that were listed in the time
Oh, you
skip.
mean Mineta? Oh, that was
Minette, I'm
hilarious.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mineta 108.
So there's a lot of people who obviously stayed through and came out. I forgot Cameo, he was 7 during Endeavor's time, so he went up to 4. So it's kind of crazy too because if you put it in perspective, like Endeavor's top 5, obviously, I mean 6 Crust died. So it was Endeavor, Hawks, Best Genius, Edgeshot, Miracle. Obviously, Endeavor retired, Hawks is done. Best Genius is still there. Edgeshot's probably done.
I was gonna say,
Uh,
no, but because I mean, in the time skip credits, like he was there with Best Genius, like wearing his hero like getup. So I think he's still a hero. He's just probably unranked, which is wild
I don't.
to
I feel
say.
like you can't drop from 4 to unranked, especially if you're the reason that the
Number
real
15's
number.
alive.
Yeah, like I feel like he could have retired because
Maybe,
the way Bakugo said it in the thing, he's like, "Oh, I got an early morning with Headshot." I feel like that's one of those things where Bakugo, obviously, he's very grateful. He's the reason he's alive. He would not be alive if it wasn't. And Headshot was 5 during All Might's time and 4 during Endeavor's, but. Just seeing those rankings and all that, that was really cool. I will say, well, we can just talk about it now, then go back. So the top 5 is going to change, because for people who don't know, they are going to animate one last thing, and that is going to be we're going to see I think she's middle school. No, or high school. She's either middle school or
middle
high
school.
school.
She'd probably be at older middle school, if not,
Because she talks about Isaiah, she
first year of high
looks,
school.
yeah. So we're gonna see Aerie.
Yay!
So we're gonna talk about that and the top 5 changes. Just giving you the spoiler right now because it's the same top 3, but
Mm-hmm.
then Midoriya is 4, and
Mm-hmm.
Bakugo, because now his rival is finally back, is at 5. So he's gonna jump right back up once Midoriya is in it. So that would be the top 5, and whenever they do that little Aerie special, but. And then when you look at that top 5, when you want to talk about what you just said, you have
Like
the
no
senior,
one,
you have the
legitimately no
senior
one
from class
else.
1A, the big 3 from the freshman class when he was a senior, and then basically Mountain Lady who was like basically starting out kind of when they
Yeah,
were all
when they were
kids.
in high school. Yeah.
So that we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But then going back to Now to get to Midoriya and them, they're in Bakugo's car, him,
Mm-hmm.
Bakugo, Red Riot. Obviously Bakugo, driving a new car, all that jazz.
His
Midoriya's in the
Batmobile,
back.
let's be real.
Everyone just has a black car in that show now.
I mean, it's
Um,
pretty sweet.
and then he has the cushy chairs in the back, and then they're talking.
Real life question.
Hmm.
What kind of seats are those? I've literally never heard or seen.
They look like
They
beanbag
they do.
seats.
They look like beanbag chairs. That's why at the end of the car ride, when Kirishima is like, "Dude, why did you pick those seats?" I am legitimately wondering why the fuck Bakugo got those seats. Unless it's supposed to be so like uncomfortable that hopefully people stop asking him for rides because the chair was eating Midoriya almost the
Yeah,
entire time.
yeah.
It was
That
a cute
was
it was a cute touch,
that
but to
was
me it doesn't make
hilarious.
sense for Bakugo's personality. But I digress. Please continue.
Yes, driving
To
them to
dinner.
Shoto's. Yeah, to Shoto's on a little party thing, and they're just having a conversation about Red Ride's asking, "Oh, do you have any kids who want to be sidekicks?" and all of that. And then you're like, "Oh no, Bakugo's had so many applications," but then they see his personality, then they turn him down. And then Bakugo does drop the line, which I really appreciate. He's like, if any of those kids said that they wanted to surpass him, he would have taken them on the
On the
spot,
spot.
which,
As soon as he said that, yeah, like it's cool to see the mix of Bakugo's like, explosive personality mixed in with, his more mature, serious side
hmm
as well. Like that's where, we get to come to, or we have gotten to see that growth. And so, seeing his somewhat usual antics pop up here and there, but at the core of it, the general conversation overall is he's staying within himself, fairly grounded, like putting out his reasoning and stuff like that, which was really nice. It was really nice to see kind of Midoriya being around and involved in these conversations, and especially like right after that. I mean, Bakugo goes about it in a roundabout way, which also seems hilarious considering his personality. Asking like Midoriya if he's doing okay or like what's going on with him, and basically as like an opening to ask him to join his agency.
hmm
And of course Midoriya goes through a soliloquy. I'm hopefully using that term right, if not a monologue, in answering that question without meaning to, saying like, bro, basically I got no time between teaching and doing this stuff. Like I'm the happiest I've ever been. I feel like I'd be doing exactly this even if I hadn't lost, one for all. Kirishima jumps in. Oh my god, with the gentle roast for the both of them, calling Midoriya dense, and
yeah.
then laughing at Bakugo for getting shut down without even asked the question. So that was it was comical. It was fun. Again, it was also very real and very reminiscent to me of like when the Bakugo, Kirishima, and Denki little trio got
hmm
together. So it was good to see Midoriya as, you know, part of the friendly trio
I would also
after.
say with Bakugo, like you said, he's jumping from his explosive to serious and all that. He jumped again to serious because he told Midoriya he should hold himself in higher regard and
Yep,
all that, and dropping the lines like, "Hey, if you say everyone's special to you, then is everyone not special to you? Like, what does that
right.
mean?" And then Midoriya thinking all night, and then obviously we get to the party. Um, like
I
you
did
already
want to
said
say one
earlier.
thing on that line.
Go ahead.
Did that line ring a not exactly, but did that kind of like little statement ring a bell to you at all? Because it shot up bells in my brain of I have heard this before, but not in a good way.
Mm-mm.
The Incredibles syndrome, that's his whole thing, is if everyone's super, no one will be. And in
Mm.
and in this instance, he's talking about like if everyone's special to you, no one's special. So of course Syndrome was, the bad guy and, trying to make sure that it, because he couldn't have been a hero, he was shot down by his hero, kind of like Midoriya. That's a weird parallel for me to draw out of the blue. And turned evil, to have that same kind of mm, vibe come in.
hmm
And it is a really important lesson to learn, in that if you don't prioritize what is important to you, if it's people, if it's things, can seem unimportant.
Hmm.
So yeah, and to me also hearing that, telling him to hold himself in high regard and like put his needs first a little bit more also to me calls back to the whole is All Might being the symbol of peace a good thing, and where I believe we touch on the fact that like if you don't take care of yourself, you're
Hmm.
pouring from an empty cup. And so all of
Yeah.
those things.
So they show what he means in that sense, but I took it, and that's a good analogy. I took it from the fact that it's like from the way he was saying, and obviously it leads to what he meant, but I took it from the thing after. It's just like, and because I am one of those people who I don't think everyone like. He is saying if everyone's your best friend, then who's really your best friend? Like that's how I was like first, and I was like,
Agreed.
and I 100% again get that. It's like because everyone can be your friend, but then well, everyone who you want to be can be your friend, but then obviously there are some friends that you just hold in higher regard than other because of life experiences with them and things of that nature. So that's where I was. But your thing
For,
was that was really good too. They get to the party. Obviously, your boy's getting honored for being number two, and just seeing all of them. Like when you talk about a callback to stuff, just seeing all of them together like
yeah,
that as like adults and having fun and busting each
being
other's
able to
chops.
drink, like yeah.
I mean, did that trigger anything
I
for like
mean,
you, for like your real life, like just in like, oh, just reuniting with people and stuff?
for sure. Like when I feel like it probably would ring more true if there had been more time since
Hmm.
like y'all had that like welcome back party for me
Hmm.
when I came to visit. What was it, 7 or so months after I had moved out of Ohio?
Hmm.
So like of course it's still the same level of, or it's the same thing of catching up with everyone because I haven't seen them or haven't talked to them in depth, but there was obviously more time that's passed the with the students. However, they did just quote unquote reunite for one of
One
the
month
first
ago.
times a
Mm-hmm.
month ago, but it's still one of those things where so much happens in a month. Things can
Hmm.
change in an instant, and I will
I mean,
continue to
Sugar Man said it best. He's like, man, I actually can't believe all of our schedules align for
align.
this. Like shit,
Yeah,
like lines like that, it just make me think like, wow, like I know yeah, because it's
for
just like,
real.
damn, we've yeah been there. No, it just made me think of a lot of the things because like when he said that, I'm like been there and just seeing them all happy, and then thinking about like, oh, you haven't seen such and such in this long time, or like that. And it's like, and then even obviously it gets cut short, but just like stuff like that, like, and it goes back to which is a terrible thing of adulthood. They all as a group do not hang out unless it's like a celebratory
Yeah.
thing, which almost unfortunately, like real life, is like weddings, funerals. If someone's having a
Uh,
big birthday party, like
I'm gonna say
besides
big
that,
birthday party, somebody's having a baby, family reunions, but obviously I haven't really heard people doing reunions, but Friendsgiving could be
hmm.
another big one.
But like they
Um,
just don't in general, like, oh yeah, like, what are you doing this weekend? No, they do not hang out as a big group, and it just makes you sad because you're like, dang, you start thinking about your own
yeah,
life, and it's just like, dang, I really don't hang out with X
like
amount, and then
the
unless if it's
whole
a big
group
thing too.
with
Yep.
everyone at once on a weekly schedule, on a
Hmm.
bi-weekly schedule, like multiple times a week. Like it's a whole thing. And I know it was a transition. I don't know about for you, Martin, but for me, going from seeing some of the same people every day
Hmm.
and being able to talk about the same things every day, like we're in the same classes, we have the same assignments, like things like that, from college to all right, now maybe they're going to a different school or now they're working.
Hmm.
Maybe they went into a field that you don't really know much about. Like, so it's the gradual like growth of everybody, but some of that growth being apart. And it from going so tight knit, everybody basically lives within, a half mile. I went to a small school. So a half mile at most from each other. to be able to like spontaneously hang out or all run into each other like in the cafeteria at the same time to you really have to be dedicated to planning, flying across the country or driving multiple hours to make even a one-on-one meetup happen versus trying to bring the entire group back together.
No, I do agree because I actually just talked about this with someone else today, and I actually just talked about this with one of my other jobs on the 28th of April
Mm-hmm.
because they asked me what's the worst part about when you graduate, and I literally said almost that statement about you really take for granted that it could be 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. It's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just hanging out. And then you just walk over to their place, or, oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
studying in the library. We can go out and eat afterwards, or like how you take for granted the easiness it is to hang out with your friends. And then once you graduate college,
Mm-hmm.
graduate UA, and everyone's getting into their own things, and the texts become less and less. And
Mm-hmm.
you're because Midoriya, I feel like he'd be the one. Midoriya would be the one, making sure he texts everyone on their birthday, happy birthday.
Yes, for sure.
But then, like, some of them may forget because they were doing their
Mm-hmm.
own thing to text Midoriya happy birthday. And then the one time Midoriya forgets to text them happy birthday and they don't text them anyway. It's like, oh, damn, I haven't talked to this person in a year. And that's
Mm-hmm.
usually the college thing. Like, it's when
It
you
is.
leave, it's like, and then it's sad because then you sometimes realize that you start thinking where like they were friends, you had great times with them, but because proximity isn't a thing for them, you just became out of sight, out of mind, which really sucks. But
Right.
that's kind of what happens, and obviously they all care about each other in class when they've been through a
Right.
lot. But it's just like
It's
the fact that
natural.
Midoriya lost his powers and you didn't talk like, and
Mm.
y'all haven't seen this man or like really hung out with him in 8 years.
See, and that's the part that I really argue with because I don't feel like he hasn't seen. I don't think they all gotten together as a group, as a class in the 8 years. I totally believe that, but I highly doubt that. Like hearing that, oh, Bakugo's the only one that still texts him. I call BS. I feel like Shoto would still be, communicating with him at some level, and like at the very least, some of the other classmates too. I just don't. Even if it's something as simple as sending like memes or articles or Midoriya sending them stuff on like their heroics and then just having a quick chat. I do believe it's he hadn't seen the whole class in 8 years for sure, but I really don't believe like they all just ghosted him that entire time. I really don't.
I don't know if it's really ghost, but I mean, if you get busy with so like Shoto, for example, if Midoriya is texting him at the wrong time, that every time Midoriya texts him, he's talking to Toya at his last days, and Shoto doesn't text him back because he's
Yeah.
like stuff like that, and like they're all doing like the stuff. And the reason I've really thought about it is because they were talking about like when Midoriya's like, oh yeah, if you want, I want to bring you back to class
Mm-hmm.
like again, and then I'm sitting there just because lines like that. So I was like, so Bakugo's the only one who's come to guest speak at one of his classes to like show what not to do, and just the fact that he only said that to him when they were
I
like
mean,
leaving.
yeah, it could be that, or it could be,
And
that in the
again,
group of them, he specifically was thinking about having that class coming up. So he's asking him again. And maybe I'm being a little bit delusional or wishful thinking, but yeah, I really will not co-sign and subscribe to the idea that they all just like didn't talk to him for
well,
that
what's I
space of
mean, it
time.
depends on what you talk. Like me talk for me, sending like three texts throughout the year is not talking. Like a happy birthday, and then when you said like the oh my gosh, the typical happy birthday. Hey, thanks. How have you been? Good. How are
Mm-hmm.
you? Good. We should hang out. Blah blah. And then it never happens. I don't consider that talking. Like it seems like Bakugo was the only one like
Actively, yeah.
consistently checking up on him, which that's where I'm like again because just look at the people's careers. Like Uraraka and Froppy were traveling all over
Yeah.
the
Doing the
place. I
quick
mean, Tentacle
counseling
is
and
trying is basically the civil rights leader of the damn
yes.
MHA world, so that's
Yes.
some busy like stuff. And then like
Yep.
Shoto is over here because we're just talking about him with obviously jumping right into hero work. I'm pretty damn sure he's probably the only one who talks to everyone in his family, from Natsu to his sister
Hmm.
to his dad to his mom to Toya till he died. Like
Yeah.
stuff like that. So like they're all just doing so much stuff, and it's just like Midori. They know where Midoriya's at because they're like, hey, Midoriya's at UA. If I really want to go see him, I can go there. So that like that comfortable, like he's right there. He's not like on the move or
Right.
anything. So it's
Right.
like,
And it could be a little bit of, like you say, like taking for granted in that we know where he is when we get the time, or when I make it like top priority, I can go see him. And it's just, natural that you keep kind of like pushing it off, pushing it off, pushing it off because it's not urgent. And when you do hero work, especially at the level that like your example of Shoto would be doing, because he debuted at number 8 and has jumped to number 2. So
mhm,
obviously being popular enough and doing enough work to debut at
mhm.
number 8 and then climb his way up to number 2 relatively quickly is extraordinary, and goes to show like how much work he's put in. I could see like, yes, and I guess that is a good point as well about defining how we say like communicating, talking. Because yeah, I mean, I would say I talk to some people, and that's the mostly what we do is like today somebody I know from grad school, is her birthday. So
Mhm.
she had posted something. I hearted it, said happy birthday. She responded. On occasion, I'll come across like something that I know we would have both laughed at it, in class, or like music that we both like or something, and I'll send it to her, or she'll send it to me, and we'll have like a little haha moment about it and then go on about our business. And we might have that happen, I would say like once a quarter, maybe, sometimes a little bit more. There were periods of time where it wasn't happening at all. But I would consider that like I'm still in communication with her. But by that definition, you wouldn't, which is totally fair. And I guess that's where maybe my definition is way more broad and lenient, in that I I could see more of them having that level of communication with Midoriya during that period of time. And I would count that as communicating with him.
I think
But
the thing
other
that really,
people might not, which is totally fair.
I think the thing that really pushes me over the edge with that is that they didn't like the heroes. They weren't besides Bakugo's the one who spearheaded giving Midoriya powers again. Like the other people really weren't thinking about that shit for 8 years. Like if Bakugo didn't come with the idea like, hey, I have this deer to
Let's
get
pay for a
Midoriya back
suit.
in the game, then no one would have said it. And I did see a stat. He donated 60% of the funding.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I'm just sitting there like, so the motherfuckers did they not want to help? Like
Well,
60%? That is a lot.
yeah, that is definitely a
That's a
lot
lot
of
for what? How
money.
many people were in class 1A?
Yeah. What, 20?
20? And he did 60%? Where
Yeah.
Momo's been rich her whole life. She just gave fucking Choto 3 million yen at the end of the episode to pay.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like that kind of deterred me. I was just like, why did one person give 60%?
Well,
And
but then that also comes to me, that also illustrates your point earlier about, how prioritizing your relationships. Obviously, Bakugo prioritizes his relationship with Midoriya in a way that outpaces everyone else in class.
but to the other
Because
thing
the
is
other
that he's
person who is very
also
wealthy in that class is Todoroki.
yeah.
And like I would totally believe that Todoroki probably put up maybe the next biggest sum. But
Over
I mean,
Uraraka.
I would think so, especially considering he is the bigger hero. So he may have more endorsement, may have more money. Plus, on a family side, let's be real, he comes from money. She does not. Remember, her whole thing at the beginning was like, I want to
Oh
become a
yeah,
hero
that's
to
why
like
people
pay.
didn't. Yeah, that's her. People didn't
Yeah,
like her. I wonder if she
it
bought
was
her
not
family a
illustrated
house.
well. I was one of those people. It was not
Hmm.
illustrated well. But
No,
anyway, so like coming from a background that, doesn't have as much, that can definitely make her more generous. However, she also has the financial priority of like taking care of her parents. So it may not be fiscally responsible for her to like put up nearly as much money as
I just feel
Bakugo.
like 20 adult. Like it's just one of those things. 20 adults. Like
Mm-hmm.
let's just say this suit cost
10 mil.
10 mil. Like, you're telling me the 20 of you couldn't spread that evenly? That's
Yeah.
where I call BS. But then also with Bakugo too, I mean, the dude debuted it in the top four. Like,
Yeah.
so obviously he was super busy and all that. And you saw at the end, like, seeing Bakugo, he's always consistently with Best Genius and
Hmm.
Edgeshot, obviously given grace because they're the reason he's alive and all of that jazz. He also has his parents as well. It's like, I don't know, I just felt like 60% for 20 people who they seem they're none of them look broke. So like none of them were talking about like they were struggling for
Would
money.
they talk about that though? Is that really a thing to talk about amongst friends in Japan? Like, is that a thing? My other, and this may be again a stereotype in because what I when I heard the court counseling stuff for
Mhm.
Uraraka and Frappy, I immediately basically thought it's social work. It's school social work. So we know that shit don't pay
But
really
they're
all
also
that much.
top 40 heroes though.
True. But if they're not doing like brand endorsements per se, like again, think about it, all of the pro athletes, but if they don't have, brand deals with the big brands, like they're not going to pull as much money as the others. Are they still wealthy? More than probably, but the scaling is not the same. Also, I really drive back to the fact that Bakugo was really passionate about doing this for Deku because he's his childhood friend. Midoriya is basically Bakugo's second priority in life behind himself, as illustrated by his persistence and donating so much of the money. And again, not to feed any Deku shippers because I know they're still alive and well out there, but it really, it illustrates from his end, like Midoriya, if you say everyone's special, no one's special to you. If you go from Bakugo's perspective, he's the one that had the idea. He's the one that put up most of the money. No one can question that Midoriya is probably the most special person in Bakugo's life, most important person, at least at this point, because we don't know if he has a girlfriend or anything of that nature. We
Yeah,
only
but I
have
could also say that, but I could also guarantee that if there was some other if Red Rocket was in that situation, he'd do the same for him. Like not maybe not to the extent like because that's we talk about Midori being the childhood friend, but Kirishima has
oh
been his
Kirishima for
main
sure.
friend
Yes.
the whole. He's basically been his top friend the whole series.
Yep.
Like obviously Midori is a childhood friend, and the antagonist, like the rival, blah 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 blah. But in terms of like friend, there's a reason that Kirishima's the one who had to put his hand out instead of Midoriya
Yeah.
during the All for One stuff. So I felt like if he was in that situation, Bakugo would do the
But
same
would he
thing.
do the same if it was Pinky? Would he do the same if it was Mineta? Like that's
No,
still,
no, I don't think
the
he would do the
tears
same
to
for
all of
those.
this.
But for those, I can guarantee for those two. For all those other heroes, I can't guarantee they would do it for any other person. Like for anyone. That's my
Uh,
thing.
ooh, ooh. Yeah. I get the feeling that Denki would do it for Jiro, but Denki probably doesn't pull money quite that way.
And you know who, and out of the, you talked about the old friend group, you know who you'd probably ask for money for a donation.
Is Momo for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Momo, Bakugo, like all of them. Like, I guess I just feel like if anyone else was in the certain situations, they would not spearhead this type
Probably
of thing.
not. And again, that just goes to the level of importance he is to Bakugo and by extension the rest of the class because again, if it was one of the other students, would all of them pitch in that amount of money for, you know, if
But that goes back
Ravity
to
had
my
lost her quirk and like
that
I
goes
don't
back to my
know.
thing. I think it'd be distributed evenly. That's my main.
Mm,
I think if it was any other student, they all would have done an even amount.
maybe.
That's my thing with that. And then it also like with this party and stuff, I, they got to conversating because I felt like with the armor, just going back to the armor of the party, like Ida, like we really forget how this series fucking started. Like it
Yeah.
was Ida,
Uh-huh.
Uraka, Midoriya. That
Yep.
was
The trio.
That
Mm-hmm.
trio, like, and I know people get hot about how it like differentiated from that because that's how they started. That's how the Hero Festival was,
Mm-hmm.
yada yada. And then Ida was there, obviously.
For
Then
staying.
Uraraka got phased out, and then it was
Yep.
Ida. Shoto starts
Yep.
getting in, then Midoriya and all of that, and then you get past the retirement. Then you get into
Mm-hmm.
the internships. Ida's phased out of that one, and then it's Bakugo, Midoriya, Shoto, and then that's your big three for basically the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
series. Because that's why I was just sitting there like people forget like Ida and or those were like his best friends at the start, like the very very
They were
beginning.
in his corner. They were,
Hmm.
and I mean, to be fair, like most of the class, it took Kirishima, I think, like an episode or two to like warm up to Bakugo or to really like put himself
Hmm.
out there with Bakugo. But there was an early episode. I believe it's the episode of like the bus when they're heading to the USJ,
Hmm.
where Sue kind of like literally points out that like Bakugo's a bully and unpopular because of it.
Yeah.
And that's when Midori is thinking to himself, like, oh shoot, like that's like totally opposite of like his entire life. Our entire lives, he's been the popular one and I'm not. And people hear people like me and see him as a bully. Like that's so wild.
Shoot,
But
that's
again,
another talk about fighting for their lives. The first time he had to fight for his lives for a villain, people forget it was
it was Sue and
Midoriya,
Mineta.
Sue, and Mineta fighting for
Mm-hmm.
their lives in the first. Like, see, like stuff like that. Then obviously too, just like when I see that, I know they had a call. Like the people who really give a fuck about him had better lines when they were trying to bring Vigilante Deku
Yeah,
like back and all of that, and like even Mineta and all that stuff saying. So I don't
that
know.
hit me. Like, I don't like Mineta. I don't like him one bit. So his whole thing about, numbers are hurtful. I was like, good. but, but, but his line to Midoriya going all the way back to the USJ event is like, oh shit. Like,
Hmm.
that is so true.
Yeah,
And I mean, good on him. Good on you, Grapey. Oh, I shouldn't have said that like that since that's the word on social media for other things. Grape juice. Sorry.
yeah. So
Um, but like, yeah, it's just I agree that probably it would have been distributed evenly. I wonder if part of his push to pay for so much of it is that he wanted it to get done quickly because it can take, certain people longer to save up X amount of money than others. That's just the fundamental nature of how things are. People's finances, responsibility with money, their salaries, responsibilities, XYZ. Um, and he didn't really want to wait. So he,
yeah. Well, either I mean, it's just interesting because again, like Uraraka saying it, like man, like obviously this stuff hasn't started since Midoriya basically came back into all of their lives on a more
mm-hmm.
consistent basis. So obviously, it was non
He
like
was
she
not
was,
physically present. Yeah, no,
yeah,
that is explicitly stated.
because
Yes.
she wasn't having any of these things for 8 years. So it's like, how often did you see Midoriya in the 8 year when y'all graduated? But they're
Mm-hmm.
at the party, everyone's having fun, talking this normal talking about, oh, dear, so and so's in a relationship and
Which
all
is
of that.
wild. And then we
But
have the speculation.
it's adulting. Then obviously you got Jiro and Denki's one and like seeing them like conversate and all that jazz. And then you talk about, and then you see Midoriya on his side, and then Ida comes talks and like Shoto sits with them. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're over there talking. Shoto's talking about, how everyone's like saying how he came through a whole bunch of stuff
Uh-huh.
and all of that. And then in my head, I was like, the reason you came through that is because of Midoriya, but that's okay. That's all. He was the first, like that fight when you guys
Mm-hmm.
had at the thing really
Shook
opened the
him up.
door.
Yeah.
So, but it's whatever. But then like they're there talking. He's talking about how he loves to eat, and then like he's talking about the food he's making. And then like Bakugo just casually, he's like, "Oh, you're using this and this ingredient, or using
Yeah.
this," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. He's so good at everything."
Yeah. He freaking knows everything. Is it that he's making the food or I thought he was making the bowls
He's
and the
taking
chopsticks.
he's taking a class. I think he's that one, but he's taking a class like to
Yeah.
learn
And
how to
that
do it. But
there's, I guess, different ways of making,
mm,
the chopsticks,
he
the
said
way I interpret it.
he loves
Yeah.
to eat. So that's really that was cool. He's just like, I'm more to me than
Mm-hmm.
the hero stuff. So
Yeah.
that was really cool. Just seeing all of them interact and all that jazz. And then they all get the call about the
The high
person,
speed chase.
which
Yeah.
I've seen the meme, and it's kind of true. I
No,
know
for
they
sure.
did it. I know they did
1000%. There
it
was
for
no
like
reason
no,
all of them needed to go.
that was
There's no
ridiculous.
way that all of them would have gotten that freaking call. Like,
Yeah,
come on, guys.
unless again they don't know. The only thing I can say of that is that they don't know that all of them are hanging out.
So, I mean, for sure. I would totally believe that. I'm just it's a high speed chase. Call Ingenium, call Dynamite, call Shoto, uh, call other speedsters and or people that have good mobility, but need you don't necessarily need Can't Stop Twinkling. You don't necessarily need Invisible Girl. You could use her, which is why all of them are there, and it gives them another, quote unquote, like Avengers suit up moment.
Yeah, which was unnecessary. That was the meme. They're just like, just imagine doing a high speed chase and the fucking Avengers show up. Like the whole,
Exactly.
not even just one, the entire team.
The
Like it
entire
was
team.
unnecessary, and like they all got the call and they all got serious. And like I saw a thing like that was it was super extended. I mean, again, the real reason for that is to hear you say, you run, you can't, whatever the thing, one last time. Like that's the
Yeah.
only you say
Yeah.
run one last. That's the real reason we got that.
For
The only
sure.
thing I would have wished is since they
Mm-hmm.
added more and they had to aura it up.
Mm-hmm.
I wish because they were all in their casual clothes when they all got
Yes.
the call. I would have wished for a suit up scene.
Right. Okay. I was thinking that because the other thing I noticed is that, I mean, I assumed like when pro heroes were on duty, they're just wearing their stuff, right?
Hmm.
Well, now with seeing them in plain clothes, it's kind of assumed that they have more, free time.
Hmm.
But I thought the whole like briefcase suit thing was only a Midoriya thing because, it's Iron Man, right? But legitimately, we see
And
freaking
Demium.
all of them carrying
Hmm.
their suitcases with their suits. So yeah, at that point, yeah, we could have had a really cool suit up scene, especially if all of their suits have similar technology to Midoriya's to be able to just like kind of like put itself on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was
Um,
wild because like you're just driving that thing and Demium gets there first and you try to do then Bakugo blows up your door. Then Midoriya freaking black whips you. Then Shoto zooms in, puts a
mhm.
freaking ice thing. And then when you're at the top of the ice and you're looking down, it's the whole goddamn Class 1A just looking at you, basically telling you, like,
Again, basically taking up the entire top 1 to 40.
hmm just
Like,
looking at you for a couple of fucking thieves. Like I saw the
yeah.
manga difference was there was only one person in there, and I was like,
Oh, it
that's
was only one.
worse. That's
That is way
worse.
worse.
So I guess the anime, good on the anime for
Upping
do
the
yeah,
stakes.
putting another person because that is just crazy. Like hearing the music obviously makes you all like nostalgic. It's just like
Yes.
damn, but it's just like yeah, one for all these people. That's nah, that's
No, that's
unnecessary.
a waste of resources. All these people got to get paid
Yeah,
something, I'm sure, somehow. Like, come
that's
on.
crazy. Just crazy work. I mean, but again, it's just to hear the music one last time, which again, it gets you in your feelings. They all do
Hmm.
that. They all say their byes. And then just so like you said at the beginning, you have the Uraraka
Midoriya
Midoriya scene.
moment.
Now, you brought it up because it was a
I did.
perfect segue. I had it, I had it, I had it, I had it. Because I was saving all the things that people were saying about the final
Was it the
episode.
DAP? Was it the DAP of love?
No, it's this because we're gonna hear your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
They and this has been trending on Facebook, Twitter, all that. Someone posted how that little stuff, Midoriya and Uraraka's relationship is one of the most. It is the. Let's not pretend this is the most forced relationship in all of anime. And this has
You're
been going a little
delusional.
crazy because they brought up like they're like, oh, Uraraka might be a lesbian or Midoriya might be gay, and we're just pushing this like it is the most force-fed relationship in anime. And I sat there, I saw that one and like seeing like 10,000 comments, likes, retweets, all that
Okay,
stuff, and that was
this is
crazy.
where I will give my critique on their relationship.
Hmm.
Point blank period. It's not forced. Uraraka, excuse me. Midoriya almost basically crushes and falls for Uraraka at first sight.
Hmm.
And then she's nice to him, all of the things. And so, of course, he just, keeps mad crushing even more. but he decides, I need to focus on hero work and, this awkwardness stuff. Like, nah, like that's not really priority right now, right?
Hmm.
Uraraka falls later. And I mean, we don't necessarily have proof, quote unquote, that she fell harder because that's one of the tropes is, someone falls first, the other falls harder. We don't know that she fell harder per se, but we definitely know that her feelings for him grew over time to a point where she was blushing, the other girls picked up on it, and she too also realized like, hey, we're in the middle of a fucking war. There's no time for this. Let me put my feelings aside because that's
Hmm.
not what's important right now. And then during the final battle, legitimately, she confesses to Toga saying, I am in love with Midoriya. Like I love him too. Like that is something we both share that we love the same man, boy, technically at the time, high school, right? Um, my critique is that neither of them say anything and their feelings are still the same 8 to 10 years later. That's the part for me where things get out of touch with real life because there's no sort of indication that either of them has dated anybody else or done anything like that. Part of that, again, is just, you know, romance, anime, manga tropes of, your first love is undying and, when the timing's right, it works out, even if it's almost a decade later. And that's totally okay, cool. And that's when I get upset with people who say it's forced because the foundation was literally laid in the very beginning. They have emotional moments. In the very last episode, like she's breaking down the ugly cry and he's there to support her. And he shares that, she's his hero. And like all of that, I felt for the emotional impact on its own, but for their dialogue, I feel like that conversation was more emotionally heavy, that it would have made sense if they had gotten together a couple years before all of this happened or not too long after everything took place. And so, like, I just, the thing with the two of them is that they each needed to give themselves permission to want and go for more. That was the main thing for the both of them. Uraka, in that, what she's doing outside of her, crime fighting hero work is the court counseling, which takes up a lot of time. She was falling asleep doing work. We know what that's like. Generally means that you're not prioritizing time for yourself or you feel like you don't have time for yourself. The whole dream with Toga, when she finally remembers what she was trying to say, was that, you know, I live my life how I wanted to. You should do the same.
Hmm.
And almost kind of giving Uraka an outside permission to go for what she wants because Uraka also knows she still has feelings for Midoriya. And, Midoriya allowed himself to feel what he was feeling without putting it aside of like, oh, well, I have to focus on these other things. So it was just, I found it anticlimactic that they did the whole, dap of love thing, but it makes sense. I don't agree at all. For people to say it's forced, I really, really, really don't. Could you say you have a preferred ship over them? I totally agree with that. That's totally valid. I don't care if it's non-canon. I'm a Zutara shipper. I don't care. But to say that their stuff is forced, I don't agree. Just like I don't agree with people who say Katang from Avatar: The Last Airbender is forced. Like there were hints. There were definitely hints. It was there. So yeah. Anyway, I will let you fill me in on how you feel about it all.
Yeah, I think most forced in anime, that's a real stretch. I would say like if you're saying it from the perspective of like we knew this was going to happen and there was no like twists and
Alternative.
turns and
Hmm.
all of that. Okay, I could see that argument. You could be like, oh, this was very just linear and boring, which you could be like, because a show like My Hero imitates like it shows a lot of real life. So you're like, all right, realistically, you've liked this person for this, and then you like you just said your biggest thing, 8 years. You literally know where Midoriya like you don't like text him like, hey, I'm in town for whatchamacallit, can we get something to
Yeah,
eat or like stuff like that, and like you can't do it on your own. That's kind of bullshit. Like I
I
can agree
agree.
with that, but most force, I think that's just crazy because I'll just
Who would you
I
put
just
above them? Like, okay, first question
most
is,
forced
do you feel like it's,
relationship and like
what do you,
anime,
yes, but
Naruto and Hinata.
before that, huh?
Naruto and Hinata. Naruto was showing no shit for Hinata.
Okay, so
And the fact that
it was
Neji
rushed. I
died,
agree. It was
Neji
rushed.
didn't have to die. Like that's the
No, no,
biggest
no.
thing. That's the thing that pisses everyone in the community off. I just saw fucking Sexy Red talking about it. Like about how Neji didn't have to die for that shit. And that's what pisses people off about that relationship. And it's just like it just gives me very with that whole Naruto, I'm not even gonna sit into it. It just gives me the same Ron, Harry, Hermione thing. How fucking J.K. Rowling was just like, and basically, fucking Naruto's like, oh yeah, Harry Potter should have ended up with Hermione. Oh yeah, Naruto should have ended up with Sakura. You fucking wrote the book. Why didn't
Yeah.
you do like no one
Why'd
else
you do
controls it
that?
but
Right.
you? Like
Yeah.
that was, and it's fine. I mean, it's just because. To be honest, let's just be honest. The real reason Naruto ended up with Hinata is the fact that so Sakura can end up with Sasuke. Like that is the reason. Like that's the because if honestly, if Naruto ended up with Sakura, who the fuck's marrying Sasuke?
Karin.
I, I don't feel like he
Then we'd actually get a Uchiha Uzumaki kid
Uzumaki.
faster.
I don't.
We'd
I
get
don't
it
think
a
they.
generation sooner.
I don't think she would do. Like I know, it was
She
like the
would.
way.
Absolutely, she would. Yep. Absolutely.
I don't know, man, because that's a whole other thing. Because when he was traveling all by himself, that would have been her perfect chance to
I
slide
mean,
in
yeah,
there.
but Sasuke's an extremely like loyal person once he dedicates himself to something. Obviously, we see him almost destroy himself and the world over something until, his low-key boyfriend, talks him out of it after, ripping his arm off and almost
And I'm
killing
gonna be
him.
also respectful
But
too. Like Karen's not a big enough character for Kishimoto to marry the second
no,
biggest. Like that's the other
no.
thing. It had to be a big.
It would probably be Eno if she needed to be bigger. It'd probably be Eno.
But the thing is, they already had the stuff established with Psy. Like it was already like by the wedding time, it was already like everyone else was matching up, and
I
that's what
mean,
kind of pisses me off. See, now you're getting me on a tangent. How Sasuke didn't show up to fucking Naruto's wedding? That really pisses me off.
that also irritates me. But anyway, back to, so a my the question I was trying to get you to answer was, do you feel like their relationship is forced? Period. I don't think it is.
No, I mean I think
Uraraka
it's
and
linear. I mean we just all knew. Like I've been on this podcast multiple times saying, I was
yeah.
like, if these and so ended up with each other, that'd be a great little
Hmm.
plot twist. Like from the first movie, I was like. From the first movie and their fight, if Bakugo and Uraraka ended up
Uraraka,
together, I'm like,
yes.
that. See, people they get behind that. Like they fought. That was
Hmm.
basically the first woman you see Bakugo openly respect and
Right.
like all that. They had the dance thing. Like they both really, really care about Midoriya. Like all the things were there. I mean, so it's just like, but again, that's not.
Agreed. Well, and
And
the
I'm
way
fine with
he's,
that.
I am, yeah, I'm fine with it too. Like I would have been fine with that being what it was. And I wonder, again, this is me getting into the, alternate universes or fanon, whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
where I'm like, the way that Bakugo specifically kind of said, like, hey, if if everyone's special to you, no one is, you need to put
Hmm.
what you want first, or you're going to miss out on something.
Yep.
He obviously knew Uraraka. This is probably
Oh yeah,
what
this
he
was
meant or
about
was hitting
Uraraka.
at.
Yeah, it
So he
was.
knew Uraraka had feelings for him, and that could just be because he's incredibly observant and whatever. I mean, also odd that he's never actually like teased Midoriya for liking her. Like for
Well,
even when they were.
when he looks at her at the party, when Midoriya looks at Uraraka at the party talking like Froppy and the girls,
Mhm.
like that's Bakugo's thing is ringing in his head, and that's when he's like, it's mad. That's where I think some people can get a little hot. You just all of a sudden in that moment he's just like, oh shit, I really do like this girl. Like,
Yeah.
bro, we've known this for 10, we've been watching you for a decade. We
Yeah, like
know.
you've always liked her.
Mhm.
We've known you've always liked her. You just kind of
You almost
pushed
got
it
kicked
down
out
and
of
tapped it
UA.
down, and that's okay. I mean, whatever. Like
You almost failed the entrance exam pretty much for this
you
girl.
did, and then she didn't even like you yet. Like she didn't have feelings for you yet,
Mhm.
and she was willing to fail the test,
To give you
in
her
your stead
points.
to help you pass because she felt like you deserved it.
Yeah. So
Um,
like just stuff like that. No,
so yeah,
it is what it
unforced.
is.
I completely, it's not
No,
forced
I
at
don't.
all.
Especially most forced in anime.
Yeah,
That's a crazy line. Like that's just no. I mean, that's just no. I mean, that's just crazy. Like especially in their own little verse. Again, if you wanted them to be, and I know people is like, oh, here comes when people talk about the MHA shippers and all of that. If you wanted him to be with someone else, fine. I mean, there's obviously other worldly things, and it could have been some cool little mix-ups and all of that. And if you wanted them to just be like best friends and all of that, that could have been fine, perfectly fine too. Like,
right.
but you just we've been watching anime for 10 billion years. We know how this shit goes.
We
Once
do. We
it's
do. And
established, I mean, it's
it's canon, it's what it is. And people who believe otherwise will continue to believe otherwise and make great art and fan fiction and probably create alternate universes in
mhm.
books or other media to,
And they'll get rich
quote
off it
unquote,
too.
for
That's the thing.
sure.
So that's it all works out. You're the people who are extremely talented with a pen, writing and drawing, or I mean, that's the beauty of anime, for better or for worse. Like if you can
Hmm.
draw these characters in certain ways, you get rich. And then you can
Hmm.
take care of your family. So you got to thank the author for not doing the relationship you wanted because then there's no money in that.
Right. Right.
But
And I mean, a totally unrelated universe, obviously, but I read somewhere, and I guess I really should confirm this before I repeat it, but I mean, I read somewhere that Reen from Blue Lock, the soccer
mhm.
player,
Yeah.
that he was literally designed to look like that they designed him to look like the child Mikasa and Eren never got to have. So
Oh,
even
wow.
even with that being a quote unquote canon relationship, some people also argue that that's forced. They didn't see, them loving each other in that way, which it's extremely subtle. It's not the forefront of the anime, all that good stuff. Whatever. I'm not
Hmm.
here to talk about that. But more so, even with a quote unquote established relationship that is canon, they didn't get to live out quote unquote their happily ever after. So an author for a different series created what would have been their lookalike child. So somebody, a different mangaka could make a totally separate thing about freaking chess for all I care. And they designed the character to look like Uraraka and Bakugo's kid instead. Like
Hmm.
it just creates more offshoots and creativity. So like I'm not mad at it at all. I wish they would Denki and Jiro would just come out and say that they're a couple. I can understand if they never become one, but I do like them together. Like that's where.
I mean, if you want to go through, I mean, just again, like they're not even respectfully to
Mhm.
them, they're not even the main one. People are like, "Will you just come out and be something?" Obviously,
Mhm.
I mean, your two favorites
My two faves, yeah. Like, why can't you two be together?
showing no,
Damn it.
even though we had the one again, it's almost like the thing from like I was talking about with Midori and the other women he's had like life threatening experience with.
Mhm.
These two, like they had the scene from when they were fighting a racer, and then
Mhm.
it's like really everyone sees y'all together. Like we see it
Mhm.
from like the drawing sample, like, oh, you guys would be so great
Mhm.
together. But then nothing confirmed. Like she gives them the money, and then it's like,
Peace. And that's the whole other thing of like
and
also
that's the one the people want confirmed. In all
that is the one we
honesty,
want so damn bad. But anyway, like again, it leaves the door open so people can make all of the things, and that's wonderful. That's great. Okay, cool. But like to me, the annoying part is it is more realistic
hmm
to have, outside people. Because, I mean, think about us when we were in school. If somebody was watching our lives, like the classroom interactions, like
hmm
following us through all of high school, they might be seeing certain pairings and
yeah,
wanting them to be together,
yeah,
and they never do.
yeah. It's
That
true.
makes more
That's true.
sense
That's true.
than, the two that have feelings, don't say anything, and then 8 years later, they decide to, see if there's more by clasping hands, like without any other dating history. That's
That
the
we
mixing
know.
of realistic, right? That to me, the mixing of realistic versus not is the thing that doesn't rub me quite right. But again, this is manga. This is also Japan, and it is a large trope to be, your first love is your undying.
Yeah. Well,
So
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, well, actually, we won't see. It's over. But that's the
hey,
thing. I can't even say that
some
anymore.
of
It's
us want to
over.
pretend and live in the delulu that we will get another, movie 20 years in the future, or, you know, more plus more plus
Plus,
ultra.
but yeah, so like it's that's the other thing. We don't even. This is it that we're seeing them. So hanging out and all that jazz. But Andrew, anything else on this episode?
On this episode in particular, I feel like there was something I wanted to bring up that now I'm not remembering. Um, oh, we didn't see Aizawa on the charts. He must have retired.
I don't. He's actually no. I no because he's actually never been on the charts. Remember,
That's
because he
true.
does under
That's
like
true.
just the underground stuff doesn't get really ranked
That's true.
like all like that because
Yeah, because that's what Shin shows unranked, and
yeah.
he prefers it that way. But
So
obviously, we know Aizawa's teaching. But I kind of wonder about that. If you, excuse me, is still doing hero work,
I
given
wonder
the
if the
fact that
principal's still the damn principal. That's what I
that
wonder.
too, that is a good
Or if
yes.
Isaiah was the principal. Like that's what I want to know. Who's the principal now?
Who is the captain now?
Pretty
Um,
much.
but I did see something online percolating, kind of saying that yes, we're getting the piece about Aerie,
Yes.
but I heard some people are under the impression that we're going to be getting a movie with the class 1A cast as adults, like even beyond what we got from More. And so if that's true, I hope so. And maybe that's where more ships will be confirmed or disproven.
Biggest problem with the movie, I think we talked about it the last pod. What the fuck? What are you gonna do in the movie?
What are you going to do? Yeah, who's going to be the big bad, or like what
Because then you have to
is
make up some super big bad coming out of nowhere, which would be bullshit. Because all the
well,
eyes and
and I
ears
mean
that
it's just like Naruto the last. Sorry.
so we're gonna
Like
have space aliens.
that's what I was, yes, I mean, you essentially
I
that are
don't
like
even think they could fight aliens. I'm being for real. I don't think they have the power capacity to fight an alien from space. That
probably
is
not.
they
Considering
that All
Midoriya,
Might's gone, bro. One for
yeah,
all is
All
gone.
Might's gone,
All
One
for
for All's
one's gone.
gone.
All the ones are gone. Like, what are they gonna do? What's Shota gonna do? Prominence burn the moon? Like, what do we do? Like, I they don't got the power for that. Like,
Uh
that would be
maybe
horrible.
somebody accidentally invents time space travel, and things get turned back in time, like the second Harry Potter movies. You brought up
Jesus,
Harry
like Chamber
Potter.
of Secrets.
No, yes, Chamber of Secrets, because isn't that the one where they have the no, that's the first movie.
No, Chamber's the second
That
because
it is the
Sorcerer's
second
Stone's the
movie.
first,
That's right.
Azkaban's fourth,
Yes, because she
Goblet
has
of
the time
Fire's
turner in the second
fifth.
movie. You
Yeah.
are correct. Yeah, so like something like that where he has to make sure that he's in the right spots at the right time, and the
I don't because
doing
I was
some
thinking about that today too. I was for a split second. I was like, I don't even what because I was thinking I was watching. I was like, damn, they're way too happy. Like, there's no villains. There's none of this shit. The
all
only
of them got up to go chase
a
two people in a
fucking
truck.
robber. The only thing they have is real life. Like, damn, I don't get to see my friends like that anymore. Okay, but the world's at peace. All the friends. The minute like I'm just sitting there, I was like, damn. I mean,
Maybe
ugh.
they're gonna get a call from a different country who's got a big bad on the rise, who's not as bad as Shigaraki and
But then the
One
problem,
for
then they
All.
don't need all 20 of them for that. Like that's the
Well,
thing. Like
maybe I don't need all 20 of them to be in my movie. Okay.
nah, there's no way there's no way they would do a My Hero movie and Class 1A as a group is not in there. Not a chance.
I mean, they could do it the same way they did like World Heroes Mission, where yeah, you see the main ones mostly, but then the others are like scattered throughout. That would
Yeah,
be how it have to be done.
I just that'd be tough. Like that's why I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell they would do in a movie. And like villain wise, they'd have to really
Pull something out of a hat.
pull something out of the hat. But anything else, Andrea?
I miss my hero already.
Yeah, I mean, I got more sad watching it because especially the meetup and like hearing you say run them again. I'm like, damn, this is actually more sad than like happy. Like
Yeah.
seeing their interactions and all that because it's like, damn, this is just again, it's over. It's been over. So,
Hmm.
with that being said, thank you all for listening to the L7C podcast. Whenever the Airy episode gets announced date, we'll be back for that. And then if not, we'll be figuring out some My Hero stuff. We've been talking about a whole bunch of things to talk about with you guys. With that being said, L7C signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.